Somehow along the way, we've picked up the idea that sin is something that is for the bad people of the world. By the way, you can sit down. That it's the ugliest parts of humanity, something that the church has nothing to do with. But you know what? Christian teachers for thousands of years have described sin as universal. And that just means that it's something that all of us, something that binds us all together. It's really that simple. There aren't sinful people and sinless people. And if you're starting to break the world down into that category, maybe we should talk some more later. For it's as Paul says, all have sinned and fallen short of the glory of God. For many early Christian preachers, sin was really the simple reality of all of life. Sin, they said, was turning away from God, turning the back to what God has created. See, God's created us for relationship, to enjoy the goodness and grace of God all around us. And yet when we saw the world, that is, when humanity saw the world, we turned towards it to enjoy rather than God. Like the prodigal son, humanity was literally turning from gazing on God. What these teachers also said is that while sin is universal, the vices are the particular things. That's to say that each of us has a vice of choice, the thing that plagues us, the thing that we struggle with the most. You know, like lust instead of love, greed instead of having enough, envy instead of a desire for the good of others, pride instead of confidence in God. See, these vices cloud our vision of the world. It's kind of like looking at the world through this window. We simply can't see. Everything gets in our way. When we turn our back on God and we look around ourselves, we don't see much but the lines and the squiggles. We can't see the world as God created it. We can't see that it's good for us and good for each other and enough. We can't see others as created in the image of God, but we see them as threats or objects for our own personal gratification. And most of all, we can't see God, the one who created us and calls us beloved. We can't see anything for what it is. It's too clouded over. We can't see it as participating in the ongoing creative work and redemptive work of God. So when we talk about sin in the church, we're not trying to shame each other, but simply name the thing that we all share. We're not looking towards God. And confession, as a way of following Jesus, isn't about making ourselves feel bad or feel shame, but to acknowledge before God that we get it. We get it. We aren't looking at ourselves, at others, the world as God intended. We are seeing the world through the haze of sin and vice. It's like looking through this window and mourning the fact that I can't see and act as I should. It's echoing Paul, who also said, I do what I don't want to do, and I don't do what I want to do. God's grace, however, helps us see what we've been missing. It turns us back around a bit. And like the prodigal coming home, we stand before God and we say two things. I'm sorry I missed it. Help me see myself and others as you see them. In turning towards God like this, in turning to Jesus and confessing, we turn even more into the grace of our own redemption, and God pours on the grace into us. And we're like the prodigal coming home again.